All right, so I'm getting my butt kicked right now by this thing. Let me mute my phone. Seriously, I have been struggling lately, and so part of the story, I'm going to tell it. I'm feeling a bit of an existential crisis with this project, and it's not existential for me. I'm not worried about my existence, although COVID, I suppose, should make us all just a little bit worried about our own existence, if not our existence, at least our sanity. And there's a nice mute. But I'm not really worried, but I had a moment. Talking to Darce and Jefferson this week, I didn't do anything ahead of time. And I wish I had, but right now I'm really focused on other things. Running a business is tough right now. Hard to find business when you can't be like really getting in front of people much. And some of our clients are taking hits and people are struggling right now. I guess that's the great irony of trying to write a story about people dealing with the virus while you're dealing with the virus. But anyway, talking to Darce, I'd asked him to go off and try to write a scene. It proved to be an interesting exercise because, not for the reason I expected, but because it was like a mirror of what the full trip, the whole listening thing. Let me echo back what you've said, make sure that I've heard you correctly. It was kind of that kind of a moment. And he tells me this idea he has for this scene. It's meant as just like a short kind of scene or set of scenes that tell this season 1 story so that we can try to sell the show. And he tells me what he's thinking. He hasn't written it yet. He's just telling me what he's thinking. And I'm going, wow, like, that's good, but it's not what I'm thinking. It's not the show I'm thinking of. It's not the show I want to make. It's not the show I want to see. It was a little more punchy, drama-driven. I don't know. And so we really ended up having this conversation about, like, what is it that I want to see? And they reminded me of a movie that I watched years ago, Empire of the Sun. Took me forever. I wasn't the one that remembered the title. But anyway, that movie, Spielberg, I got to go back and rewatch it because I think that's the feel I'm going for. And that really got me thinking. And then the other thing was, as I'm pushing back, Darce is asking me these questions. He's really great at asking these questions. I can be feeling quite invulnerable to, or impervious to, like, I know I got this figured out. I know what I'm going to say. I know how to answer the questions because I got this story solid. And then he'll just ask the simplest, most obvious question. Well, it's not really. It feels that way when it comes, but it's genius, I guess. Darce, if you're watching, you can feel good about yourself. And I'm talking about, the show's not really about the drama and the action. It's about people. It's about the connection between the people. That the kind of working title is touch, and this point of contact, and how important human connection is. How important, and the children discovering how important it is, and then kind of fighting to try and regain it and build it. And I don't remember the exact question Darce asked me, but it was something around, I think it was something about, okay, well, how do the characters change over the course of the show? I don't know if that was the question, but it brings me to a similar place. And it was like this, oh crap. Like, is their journey really about discovering the power of human connection? Not really. I don't think. I think that at the beginning of the show, that first scene that I'm so in love with right now that I haven't actually written, but I've blocked out, broken down. Like, I think that is actually demonstrating that these children already have connection, that they already value it. They already see the importance of it. Maybe they're learning some lessons about human connection as they go, but it's already a big deal. Oh, I think I remember the question Darce asked. It was about the isolation. I was talking about how early on in episode 1, the kids are dealing with the isolation and their stress in the family, and it kind of comes to this boiling point and things start getting really hard. He's like, is that really about isolation? And I realized, that was what I realized, is no, that's not about isolation. Because they are together as a family. They have each other. And really what's stressing them, and the reason why things kind of come to this crescendo of dysfunction for them and their family, is their lives have been turned upside down. And everybody's dealing with it, or not dealing with it. They're trying to live their lives, but everything seems to be conspiring to stop them from dealing with it. Yeah. Anyway, I found myself at this place of just really feeling like maybe I don't know the core point. And thinking about Empire of the Sun, I had this moment of like, well, maybe what this show is about is these 4 children who they're dealing with kid things. They have these important childhood relationships, and then boom, this virus comes in and their world's turned upside down. Their relationships are pulled apart, and nothing is familiar anymore. Their childhood is interrupted. And the show is about, this is me just musing, I kind of like this, I think, but I don't know if this is right still. The show's about them fighting to get back this childhood that they lost. They're trying to get back to it, and it's not working at first. It's not working easily. Like it's a real fight, and they have to figure out a way to detect this virus in order to be able to restore it. And I think there's some fun around the idea that in the process of trying to fight to regain their childhood, they actually mature, they grow up. They do some very grown-up things and learn some very grown-up lessons and have a perspective and a maturity that outside of these extreme circumstances would have been reserved for adults. I think that could be interesting. I have got to spend more time thinking about it, and this is the big task for me this week before my next meeting with Darce and Jefferson, is to think about that and figure that out. Fingers crossed our business picks up a little bit so I can stop worrying about that as much and focus more on the story. But I need to focus on the story anyway, because it brings me joy, it brings me life to do it. And lately, talking to Jefferson and Darce and shooting these videos is all I've been able to do, and that's not enough for me. So here's me keeping myself accountable. That's where I'm at, guys. It's true. Sometimes it's hard, and right now it's pretty tough for me to keep on keeping on with the storytelling, but I will. Thanks for tuning in.